for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mine was wrapped around the arms of the chair.
Hey, that's a trick I'll have to remember.
Call to order January 20th, 2021, Curry County Board of Commissioners, general meeting. Quick roll call or introductions here. To my far left, Director Rickert. To my immediate left, Curry County Commissioner Christopher Pash. To my immediate right, Curry Commissioner John Herzog. To his right, County Council Huddle. To his right, Staff Jesuit. And welcome all. We have 4 people that are going to be offering public testimony. I want to give a little shout out to our staff and certainly to this board. We've had 9 meetings so far this month. I don't know if that's a record, but very well could be. It wasn't having meetings just for the sake of having meetings, but they were productive. I think the staff did an incredible job to get them well organized. And February, I believe, we'll only need to have 4 meetings, including workshops. That's the first and third Wednesdays. So keeping with good productivity, as we had planned back in early December. So we were just talking before the meeting started right at this moment. Our country begins anew today. We're hoping and praying. President Joe Biden is being sworn in again as we speak. So as we meet for important county business, he is surrounded, unprecedented, by National Guard, 26,000. I'm not sure what that says about our country, but we're very divided. We're very divided in our communities. And each day we have another chance and opportunity to come together. So praying for our leaders, our country, our peace, and our prosperity. So line of duty casualty report. I don't have one today, but I want to give also a shout out to our local veterans, VFW, Mike McNutt, John Bell, and I think former Curry County Budget Committee officer Bill Ostrowski. If any of you are at the north end of Gold Beach Monday, you saw about 100 flags on the west side of the highway, and it was just fabulous to see. So they put them up every year and they take them down. And it was in the memory of Martin Luther King. And he, like Winston Churchill, Abraham Lincoln, personally, 3 of my favorite heroes. A dedicated Baptist minister. One of his tremendous quotes, in my opinion, was, "If we don't promise goodwill toward our fellow men, we will destroy ourselves." Historically, one of the most anti-violent citizens ever. The epitome of peaceful protesting. So I would though like to offer a moment of silence for all of our military heroes, our firefighters, and of course those we've lost in the line of duty for law enforcement. Thank you. Thank you again. So real quick COVID report. Curry County is up to 322 positive cases, and the big news is now we've included or added 3 new deaths for a total of 5. So since our first case in late April, 9 months, as a reminder for our communities to do everything we can to continue to stop the spread. Vice Chair Commissioner Herzog, do you have any quick comments you'd like to make?
No, sir.
Commissioner Pash?
No, I don't.
So next on the agenda is the amendment approval or approval of the agenda, possible amendments. Do you have one first?
Well, I just wanted to say, I think Commissioner Herzog was going to do an introduction first so that we can get the
That's
treasurer
right,
back to us.
right where I was going,
right.
and special introduction.
Okay.
And appreciate that. So what I'd like to do is put that under presentations, and then did anybody else have any agenda amendments that they'd like to offer? Okay.
No.
But we have a very special guest here, another special guest by the name of Charles Bartlett. I'd like to move him, commissioners, from item 7A action, or item 7D, excuse me, action item, to honor him with a proclamation and have him go right after Commissioner Herzog's introduction. And that way he and his friend Howard could drive back to Brookings. So can I get an okay on that?
Yes.
Yes.
So moving on public comments, there's been some interest on different agenda items and what that concept should be. And yes, go ahead.
Need to take I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Where I'm going is if we can also add, I'm going to make a proposal for a workshop, Commissioner, and so if I could get board approval on that. No, I think you might be right. We don't need to, we can't approve the agenda as amended. So if you want to make that motion, I apologize.
So moved.
Yeah, thank you.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call, please, Staff Jesuit.
Commissioner Pash,
All right.
Vice Chair Herzog,
Yes.
Chair Boyce,
Yes.
motion carried unanimously.
So the public comment sections that we offer to the public has always been very important to me. It's been my history to have maximum public access. And everybody knows, and I think this board agrees, and they personally feel very important, that we are absolutely here to serve the public. We do the one generally shorter meetings if we can. That doesn't mean compromise public testimony or even less productivity. But we also have to be reminded of getting our staff back to their other responsibilities, their offices, their other duties. And so what I would like to do, board, hopefully you can agree, and where do we have the mouse real quick here? My arms aren't quite long enough. Almost. There we go. I didn't pull any muscles on that one. This will just take a minute, folks. This is what I offered to the board, I think back on either the 4th or 6th of January. Slight different agenda approaches that we can, it's kind of an update. It's problem solving, it's moving forward. You know, I was pretty big on number 3, the opportunity to just simply declare a potential conflict of interest. Just takes a few moments. But we moved presentations up as early as we could, and I think the board generally agreed on that. But as far as public comment goes, what I would like to do is at the end of the meeting have citizens' concerns in addition to the agenda items that we're offering the public 3 minutes per person at the beginning of our meetings. But that's just my view. But I think a workshop could clarify some things, we could get some different ideas, and I'd like to propose that for February 3rd and make sure that the public has good access, is able to participate. But our meetings are, and you see this with other counties, you see it with cities, it's a general business meeting, and it's not necessarily the public coming in at the last minute trying to conduct or help the board set policy or the council, whatever it may be. But this would be 2 opportunities for the public, and yet I think we could probably come up with some different ideas and combine these 2 items into a workshop. So I'd like to have board agreement on that and see if they believe that that might be a good way to go.
That's to have a workshop?
Yes.
I'm okay with that.
Commissioner Pash?
That's fine with me.
So we'll tentatively set it for February 3rd. And, you know, normally the public doesn't comment at workshops, but I think it might be a good idea to add and even encourage public comments at that time and get that additional input. If the board is likewise okay with that,
Yep.
okay? So let's go to our first presentation there.
Okay.
Commissioner Herzog.
Well, it's my honor and privilege to introduce to those on TV and those here in public our newly appointed county treasurer, Douglas Baker, North County resident, Port Orford resident for close to 9 years, is it now? Or?
That's about right.
Yeah, that, right around there. Has helped up there with different stuff, opportunities, financially wise, and it's just a privilege to have him on board. And I'll let him. He's right at the mic. He'll speak a little bit, but he'll be appointed for 2 years, and then it'll be his decision whether he wants to run at the next primary election in 2023. So, Douglas, it's good to have you. Welcome aboard. We're the two new guys. So yesterday it was the blind leading the blind. We took 2 trips to the county clerk's office, and but we got her done. He met some folks and took a lot of notes, and so welcome aboard, bud.
Thank you. My name is Doug Baker. Has been mentioned. I am succeeding Debbie Crumley as the treasurer. This is sort of a new venue. Usually in my positions in the past as controller, you don't have this level of notoriety. I think I was going to save this to last, but I think on a humorous note, had I known that I was going to get my own treasurer's parking space, I probably would have run for office sooner. My career started out, I moved to Port Orford from Virginia 9 years ago, of course, and in Virginia has been predominantly my professional, represented my professional career as a corporate controller in the private federal contracting environment. Once I took my first job in 1978, I became typecast as working for what was affectionately called back then as Beltway Bandits. Then with several jobs, and then upon retirement, I moved to Port Orford. And I would think that probably after like about several months, I got a little bit bored with retirement. I didn't know what to expect. So I got a position at Ocean Resource Team in Port Orford. It's in the fishing industry. Met some terrific people. That organization came to an end, and I left, and again, got a little bored with retirement. And through a series of, I think, unusual but fortunate events, I found out about the treasurer's position, and here we are. As far as personal activities that I've been asked to mention, I would say at the top of my list is probably repair and maintenance at home, doing various things. Things happen. Second, I would say is that during the last 10 years, I've had a hobby that I've got very much into, which is anything having to do with espresso. And that it goes from roasting beans to purchasing espresso machines and of course drinking it. Cycling has always been a passion for about 35 years. I've cycled at different levels, basically being a club rider. I've raced for 3 years. I'm a Cascade Cycling Club member. We did the STP on several occasions. I've been all over the world doing that. It's been quite a joy. I would say, anyway, I am pleased to be hired for this position. I have met the people that I've met so far. I'm really enjoying working with you. I certainly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome again.
I look forward to his espresso machine. So maybe if you got extras, bring one down and yeah.
Are you speaking for all of us?
Well, just for me.
Sounds good.
As long as there's a little half and half, because I'm not a real coffee drinker, so I like a little cream. But welcome aboard, and thank you for that. And you don't have to stick around if you don't want to, but you sure can if you want to. So that's your,
And all three commissioners, I think will agree, we want to be accessible to you and help you every way that we can. Welcome again. So I see we have Coos Curry Electric Chief Executive Officer in the room, so we'll get a chance hopefully to hear from you a little bit later on. Brent Bischoff, thank you. Would you, Mr. Ware and Mr. Bartlett, would you mind coming up? Yes, I'm sorry, consent agenda?
You didn't do your public comments.
nope.
Did you catch it too?
Nope.
Well, we're going to do the presentation, and then that was on the,
The public comments were number 4.
Yep.
Presentations number 5.
but we
so.
moved that, didn't we? Okay, so let's do the presentation so they can go, and then we'll absolutely jump on public comments. Thank you. Mr. Ware and Mr. Bartlett, would you come up to the microphone, please? We won't make you stand too long. These are a couple buddies. Mr. Bartlett, we're here to honor you today, and I won't read your story, but it was in the pilot back early in January, and we did not know we had 2 World War II veterans in Curry County, and we may find more that are still with us, and we're just proud to welcome you and honor you and be thankful and grateful for your service to your country. And we're glad that several years ago you heard about the great Brookings weather and you decided to move here.
Correct.
And I understand you just renewed your driver's license. Is that true?
I may have it and received it this morning. Howard brought the mail to me. I think I do have it, but I haven't opened it.
Okay.
So this board, I need board consensus that he's probably the safest driver in this room. Safe to say? Congratulations on that. So and Howard, it's been tremendous to work with you in the pilot and recognizing Mr. Bartlett. It's just a tremendous honor. Yes, sir.
I know riding with you in the past, he's safer than you.
I represent that remark.
Would you agree, Mr. Bartlett?
And I bragged to my wife, I've never wrecked a car, but I've sure dented some fenders. Okay. Again, we're just really glad to have you here and your story and the 2 meals per day that you had that kept you going, but it sure didn't put any weight on you, did it?
I have no reason why I've lived this long. I have no answer for it. I'm 23 days past my 100th birthday.
Amazing.
I'm a World War II veteran. I served overseas. I have no reason. When people ask how I've lived this long, I don't have the answer. I don't have any more words of wisdom.
Well, we're going to be sending you a proclamation in the mail or to Mr. Ware, maybe even both. And it isn't every county, it isn't every day that you see and get to be close to and shake hands with a centurion. It's just, it's very special, and I believe and hope that the fresh air of Curry County has something to do with your wonderful health, and we wish you another 10 or 20 years, sir. World War II, an incredible time in our history, and thank you for serving.
I think he deserves a round of
How about-
applause.
yeah.
Standing ovation, yeah.
Somebody's got to get a
I
picture.
don't feel that well honored, but I thank all of you.
God bless you, sir.
Thank you.
Drive safe.
Okay.
Thank you, Howard.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, public comment. First on the list. Good Curry citizen Leonard Krug, please.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Chair Boyce and Commissioners. My name is Leonard Krug. I'm the president of the Oregon Anglers Alliance. And as you may know, we represent thousands of recreational and commercial licensed anglers, step volunteer groups, outdoor organizations, and Oregon businesses. I'm here today to speak about Senate Bill 592. Now, Senate Bill 592 proposes to eliminate the use of lead for all Oregon anglers. The bill also calls for the elimination of lead pellets for all types of hunting. We are requesting that the Curry County Board of Commissioners send a letter to our state lawmakers opposing Senate Bill 592. There's no peer review evidence to justify the elimination of lead for angling or hunting. We should not craft regulations based only on assumptions. Plus, passing this bill would have a huge financial impact to Oregon's economy. It would decrease tourism in Oregon by discouraging people from hunting and fishing in Oregon. It would also it also cost state wildlife agencies by reducing the sales of hunting and angling licenses, as well as the taxes that are derived from the sales of sporting goods. And it would cause the manufacturers to retool, which will ultimately pass the cost on to the customer. The very few alternatives to lead that we do have are much more expensive and overall less effective. Bill 592 would cripple our commercial ocean fishing industry in Oregon. Oregon commercial fishermen would be handicapped to compete with other state market prices. The bill's been presented before, and these are just a few of the good reasons that it failed. And finally, many of our businesses are struggling or have even closed due to COVID, so we would respectfully request that Curry County Commission urge our state lawmakers to use caution when considering any regulation change that would place further financial burdens on businesses and the hunting and angling public. So be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Krug, I've followed your work and your writings and over the last 4 years, getting to know you, and if anybody has a balanced outlook on how to manage our salmon and steelhead and the sport fishing importance to the South Coast economy, great gratitude to you, and really appreciate you taking the time to give us comments today. Very helpful. Commissioner Herzog?
Nothing?
Commissioner Pash, you have a presentation later today.
Yeah, that's why I would have thought this would have gone along with the presentation, but that's fine.
You know, one more thing I might add is that when I say there's no evidence, everyone admits that lead is not healthy to ingest. But when I say no evidence, and that's with the National Wildlife Service and Association for National Wildlife Associations, what it gets down to, there's really nobody saying that lead's unhealthy for the overall viability of a population species. No one's recommending this kind of legislation be passed. That's the final bullet point. Thank you.
Almost hard to believe, isn't it? Mr. Byerland, did you want to wait till later on this, or did you have any comments?
I'll be brief.
Okay.
Is this the first time that it's ever been brought to in a bill? No?
Good question. Probably not.
Steve Byerland, Nasika Beach. The Senate Bill 592 is one of likely over 100 bad bills that are going to be introduced to the state legislature. When I was working in the legislature as a representative of the Oregon Guides and Packers, we had about 400 bad bills a year. But if nobody squashes these or make comments on them, they get through. And so it's important. Senate Bill 592 basically attacks the mission goals for the Curry County, sustainability and economic and so on. The fines that would be imposed by Senate Bill 592 for using a split shot, or a lead-headed jig out in the ocean that's 5 or 6 ounces, would be 364 days in jail. And up to a
That's not a misprint either.
Pardon?
That's not a misprint.
No. And a $6,250 fine. or both, absolutely ridiculous. Recently, I'm not sure if JJ was able to get you a copy of the report that I got from the DEQ, Department of Environmental Quality, but it's dated December 18th, 2020, so just about a month ago. And it says that the waters of the Rogue River have no toxins in them, that are harmful to human health. And the people that put this bill out cited lead in children causing brain damage and, different things as growing. Totally in error for our basin. The Rogue Basin is one of the largest river basins in the state, with some of the most fishing pressure in the state. So to show this in our area, is very important. And I would suggest that this report be posted on the county website, because it's a good thing and a settling thing for the public to know that DEQ has done these tests. And some of the sampling locations, one of them was only 7 miles up from the mouth of the river, Bear Creek and at Merlin, and then and Gold Hill, they did testing, and that's what the report's from, and so it was a pretty broad-based test. It's not that there's no toxins in the Rogue River, but there's not enough toxins in the Rogue River to cause an issue, and but I think if we can get a letter from the county, and hopefully the county can look at maybe partnering with Josephine and Jackson County and use this as a base to show that you folks know that there's no scientific data to support doing this, So, any questions?
Yeah, when you were a kid, could you bite the split shot with your back teeth?
Yes.
That was a
Yes, all the
tremendous
time.
sign of toughness. I never could. Thank you, Mr. Byerland. Next is David Barnes, please.
Yeah, I was going to say something, but I'm going to change my topic here. I just want to voice my support and reiteration for what Mr. Krug and Mr. Byerland said. If people don't respond to bad bills and bad ideas, a lack of response is support. Mm-hmm. And it's really important that we stand up as a county. You talk about Josephine or Joco and Jackson. I'd like you to see you reach out to Coos and going forward north on the coast, because this affects them also. Reach out to their boards of commissioners and ask them for letters also. This is just, I grew up the grandson of a fisherman, and this is just a bad idea. There's no science behind it. A lead shot is different than lead paint. It's a different composition to the lead. So, but again, I just want to reiterate and support what Mr. Byerland and Mr. Krug have asked for, and I hope this board can put together a strongly worded letter in opposition to this bill. Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you. Next public comment. Connie Hunter, please.
I'm Connie Hunter, and I'm a proud citizen of Curry County. And of course, I'm excited about the proclamation coming forward, and I hope that we can get that going on behalf of honoring our veterans, our service members, and their families. And I just want to say something real quick. I really appreciate the advocates in the room for standing up to bad ideas. I also agree with standing up for good ideas. So maybe y'all will stand with me on a few good ideas. One of the things that I'd like to bring forward in this year, 2021, is to highlight, even though the statistics show we have just over 170 female veterans in Curry County, I'd still like to look at female veterans issues in a way that is different. I'd like to ask permission to reach out to Miss Veteran America, who this year is highlighting women vets homelessness. And in so doing, she breaks the stigma for all veterans homelessness. And I'm going to reach out to her and try and speak with her just to get good information. But if I can get a virtual opportunity here, would that be something the board would be interested in having? And then one of the things I really appreciate the support of everybody that's been on the Board of Commissioners, even the last seated with Sue Gold, was the emphasis and support for veterans and getting the services from the VA here locally. And I just want to give you an update. We do have a new Veterans Justice Outreach person named Linda Shannon, and I'd love it if she could come and talk to us, and I'll try and get her set up to go talk to Lipsick also. Our wonderful Will Watson has gone over to Eugene. He was our suicide prevention coordinator, and we do have a new VA suicide prevention coordinator who I have not met with, but I was alerted by Jana, who is the mental health director for all of the coastal area. And then we do have a new mental health social worker, Dana Bate, and he comes to us as two people, private citizen and VA employee. As a private citizen, he has an interest in housing, and as our VA mental health social worker, he's trying to fill the big shoes of Sheila Albers. But he does have some other staff to set up. And then just one real quick thing is my dad was a poll marshal on Super Tuesday during the Barack Obama, when Barack Obama ended up being elected. Now he's a very devout Republican. We call him Barry Goldwater Republican. But as a young person, he and I got into it because I had to work a campaign as part of a government project on the Democrat side. Anyway, my dad ended up being in the documentary of note called The Election of Barack Obama, by the people, the election of Barack Obama. He was interviewed, but he never realized he was going to end up in that. So even though we were separated, I know it was really funny. we had years of this. On the day that Barack Obama was inaugurated and they did the inaugural parade, my mom and dad were in Arizona. I was in Oregon, and we stayed on the phone all day talking together. So that was the example that we said in my family, you come together after the election. Thank you.
Thank you.
Connie Hunter, you mentioned Will Watson. We are definitely missing him. And so you also offered to bring Shannon in for a presentation. Any connection, if you can help facilitate that, much appreciated. Good idea.
Okay, well, thank you so much. And I'm blessed to be in the room with you guys every day because freedom means a lot to us. And when we're going through this and talking about veterans, I cannot do anything but be humbled by our two World War II veterans, and that's what prompted me to tell the story about my father, who was a World War II veteran.
Much appreciated. Curry County Planning Director, Becky Crockett, please. We're not going to hold you to 3 minutes, by the way.
I'm not going to talk more than 3 minutes. I have something really brief to share, and I'll hand it out. I just want to bring your attention to House Bill 2238. It was brought to my attention about 45 minutes ago. This is a bill that essentially would allow the state to take private property during the state of an emergency without providing just compensation to the owner of the property. It's getting a lot of discussion, and I just want you to be aware of it. It's something that I would hope the board collectively would object to when the right opportunities come. Essentially, the bill is trying to moot a legal challenge to the governor's COVID-19 orders that would require the state to pay compensation to businesses that have been shut down due to the governor's executive orders. That's the intent behind it. However, it's written so it's much wider than that application. Essentially, I'm getting comments like, we think the implications for wildfire, flooding, even a broad umbrella of alleged climate emergency could enact the governor to have the ability to take property as a result, and the identification of need for that private property without just compensation. So it's getting a lot of buzz out there, and I just think it's important to be aware of it.
Director Crockett.
Thanks.
You're going to be here for the workshop this afternoon, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. So we'll have more questions then. Thanks for your comments today. Nancy Sue Rose, please.
Nancy Sue Rose. I live in Nasika Beach. I want to again say to Court Boyce that I do wish you would stop you didn't do one today, but stop your hero speeches. Some of your heroes are actually criminals. I don't have time to research all of them, but this one here came to my attention. The 6 police that were ambushed in Harris County, Texas, were actually criminals. They were indicted on 17 felonies linked to deadly, botched raid, murder, drug payments, aggregate theft, etc. I don't think this is appropriate for the Curry County Commissioners meetings. Thank you.
Consent agenda. Was there any questions or any of the? I see we have of the 5 listed agenda items there. We have Roadmaster Christensen. Does anybody have questions for him, or we're okay with approving the consent agenda without changes? Commissioner Herzog?
I'm okay with it.
Commissioner Pash?
I don't, if I would have seen something, I would have brought it up previous.
So we don't, no questions for, we're gonna let Roadmaster Christensen off easy today, hey?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna, we see you over there, thank you. So those 6 items are, A, amended minutes, emergency meeting, December 17th, 2020. Approve road department Vector truck rental from Owen Equipment for 1 month for 4 weeks for $12,950. C, approve road department with signature authority to the roadmaster for Dyer Partnership Task Order number 23 to survey and engineer the T turnaround at dead end of Lakeshore Drive. Task order cost is not to exceed $15,600. If you haven't been to Lakeshore Drive yet, highly recommend. That's a neat area there. 6D, the statewide transportation improvement fund biennium grant application for 2021-23 for proposed stiff expenditures. And finally, Umpqua bank account, add Douglas Baker and remove Terry Hanscom. So we're going to item 7A. Excuse me, go ahead.
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
I thought we already did that with the agenda. No?
You just read the consent agenda, then we have to approve it.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please, Staff Jesuit.
Commissioner Pash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Herzog.
Yes.
Chair Boyce.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously.
Item 7A, step increase discussion. HR Director Swift.
Good morning, Julie Swift, payroll and HR. So my question to you today is, we had great discussions when we did the wage study and implementing longevity and all that kind of stuff. And the way we did our longevity in the past was based on the salary range that someone was in. It was a percentage, at 5, 10, 15, 20 years of that amount. When we implemented the wage study, Julie Schmelzer changed the way that longevity was done. So it's no longer based on tenure. So basically you're put into a salary range, you go through your 6 steps, at steps 7 through 10, you get a certain longevity rate, and steps 11 plus, you get another longevity rate. We've run into a situation where when an employee was placed in a salary range, she was placed at step 7. So she's in that first longevity range. And the way Julie decided those things was taking their current base salary plus longevity and putting it into the new salary range at a place where they would not lose money, where they get a slight increase. So we have a person that's at that that longevity 7 to 10 range, she's actually a 20+ year employee. So my question to you is, does she stay in that 7 to 10 range for another 3 years? Or do we move her into the 11+ range and max her out? Which previously she was maxed out in the range that she was in before. So that's the discussion we need to have. Do we leave her there at 3 years? Because she's eligible for a step increase now. So do we just leave her and say, too bad, thanks for your 20 years, or do we move her into the next longevity range?
Well, I think it's an easy decision for me, a recommendation, the 11+ longevity range. And thanks for 20 years of service.
John had a question.
And this will come up again in July with another long-term employee who's in the same situation. She's been here over 15 years.
Director Swift, we're only looking at one today, though.
We're
correct?
looking at one today, correct?
Thank you. Okay. That was my understanding.
Go ahead, John.
So the question I have is, so the longevity is that a step?
It is a step now.
Okay.
So it would take her from the step that she's in, that 7 to 10 step,
Right.
and put her in the 11+.
And then we have another one coming up. So how many other employees are in the 7 to 10?
I'd have to look, but I think there was only the two
Okay.
that were the long term like that.
And then are there others in the, and once you're in the 11+, that's it? Is that kind of the idea?
Yep.
Okay. So then the question would be, was that 7 to 10 intended to be, when she was put in there for the first year, was that intended to be a 3-year stay in there, or was it intended to be a 1-year stay in there?
Don't know.
And that's the question you're
That's the
asking the
question.
board to
Mhm.
answer? Okay. And then for other employees who are just going from 6 to 7, it's pretty clear?
Yes.
Okay, got it. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Oh, Director Rickert.
And so I do want to point out that although we're just talking about one employee right now, this will set a precedence for all future employees, which there may only be one, but possibly more than that.
So you're thinking just one more that they're in a 7 to 10 year, but in that category, but they've actually worked years way beyond that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good clarification, both of you. So this is an action item, gentlemen.
I would make a motion then to move her to the 11+?
Yes.
11+
Longevity
longevity?
range, yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
Sorry,
Oop,
I do
excuse
have a
me, Councilor
question.
Huddle.
Well, it follows on a little bit of this,
Okay.
and also what Director Rickert said. This will come up again in July 2021 when we have a 15+ year employee. So what I'm wondering if we're gonna make, essentially instead of a case-by-case basis, if we're making essentially a rule that if we have an employee in what we call this longevity 7 to 10, and essentially this, you're asking this question because this employee's over 10 years.
Correct.
So if there's anyone else in there over 10 years, whether it's 15, 20, 11, that they move to the 11, is that the direction you're really looking for, not just on a case-by-case basis?
We could do that.
Brad?
Yeah.
Brad's
I'd be
not-
comfortable with that.
So it's it's an interpretation of our rule and how our rule applies broadly, so that then when this comes up again, we'll just say, okay, you're over 10, and it's your step, and you're gonna go to, you've been 1 year in this 7, and now you're gonna go to the 11. Is that, and that seems to be the reasoning of the board. You've been here long enough, you've been here longer than 10, and you were in there 1 year, now you're going. Is that, so we're looking for, am I being
I'd
clear?
be comfortable with that, yeah.
Okay.
I would
So-
amend my motion. Oh, go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I
So,
don't
yeah,
tell
we
you.
want to make it standardized for future similar situations. I think that's what I heard both you and Director Rickert comment on, in a sense. Commissioner Pash?
I'm just wondering, don't steps have to be earned?
Yes.
So who approves that process? They're
If they've received a successful or better evaluation, they get their step.
Okay.
And it's for longevity, I don't want to use the word tenure, but I mean, it is a longevity recognition for their service. Am I correct in that?
For the most part.
But the evaluations are important, certainly.
Right,
Yes.
right. But when these schedules are redone, it took out longevity being so much a tenure, a time-related, a service-related time. So, for instance, depending on how someone's salary fell, we have an employee who's been here quite a long time who went into a new range at step 3. So she has growth as far as step increases over the next few years. So it'll step, and then go into the longevity.
Anybody can answer this, but if we went on an individual basis, would it look like we don't? Could we be accused of being unfair, or that we're not, we're changing the policy as we go? Or do we need to just frankly look back to your original motion, Commissioner Herzog? Do we just need to look at each individual case and just do our best and the right thing there?
Well, I think if someone's been here for more than 10 years and they're in that 7 to 10, if they've just gone into the new salary study at that 7 to 10, that's where they're replaced. I think once they're my feeling is once they're up for a step increase, they would go into that 11 plus range if they've been here more than 10 years already. So instead of having to wait another 3 in that 7 to 10, they've already met their 10 plus. So that's what I would be comfortable with, provided they get the successful evaluation.
So based on that?
I agree. I would amend my motion to
have kind of a standard
include that, yeah.
Okay.
I'll second.
It was a whisper there. Did you second, Commissioner Pash? Any further discussion? You ready? Staff John, roll call, please.
Commissioner Pash.
Yes.
Vice Chair Herzog.
Yes.
Chair Boyce.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Swift. Letter of support for broadband bill, House Bill 2654. That was some good reading. Council Huddle, please.
Thank you. So the draft letter's in your packet, and it talks about this broadband bill. I actually think we have a guest in the audience who could speak more clearly about the bill and answer any questions, and then the letter would support it. Essentially, the idea is to provide broadband over electric lines and to allow the electric easements to include broadband, and that way it would allow this service to be given to rural counties. So I think I'll, if you could.
Cooskary Electric CEO Bischoff, come on. Do you want to introduce?
Well, I don't. You can go ahead, Brent, but I'm going to declare conflict of interest and will not be voting on this recommendation by the board, just because I as a board of director on the Cooskary Electric board, also on the Beacon Broadband board. So on those, I will not.
Since he'll have no financial gain, that's not prohibiting him from weighing in or voting,
well,
is it?
Go ahead.
It's your choice, but.
Well, I was just going to say the Beacon Broadband is a for-profit company. So Cooskary Electric is a nonprofit, and so Beacon Broadband is a for-profit entity of Cooskary Electric. So,
right. So it's not just him. It's him. Excuse me. So it's not just a person voting. It's the person voting or a company that they have an interest in, and so he's got an interest in. He serves on the board of a for-profit company, and so he doesn't want to vote on a matter that could affect a company that he sits on the board of.
Okay, but board participation doesn't equal.
I think that's a gray area, and I think in an abundance of caution, just staying out of the conversation, if he tries to influence it some way. So I think Commissioner Herzog's made his decision. It's his personal decision to make.
Thank you, Councilor Huddle. Thank you, Commissioner Herzog. Welcome again. You might want to adjust that microphone up just a little bit.
Good.
Good to see you.
It's good to see you as well, Chair Boyce and Commissioners. I appreciate the opportunity to come and address you this morning in support of House Bill 2654. If I could, I'd just like to give a little background. I was last here at the addressing the board in last August, giving an update of our Beacon Broadband project at Coos Curry Electric with the goal to build a fiber optic broadband network that would extend to every single one of our Coos Curry Electric members, which is the whole of Curry County. And so we've made significant progress since that time. In August, we have secured federal grant funding sufficient to make our Beacon Broadband project financially feasible. And we're now making preparations to begin construction in the coming months. And we'll also be looking for competent people to staff Beacon Broadband. Eventually, we'll be at the point where we'll add about 15 full-time employment opportunities here in our local area. So a lot of exciting things going on. We are at the same time looking for every opportunity to reduce the cost and speed the timeline for our project. We've got a lot of positive enthusiasm in the community. Folks have really been excited about the prospect of Coos Curry doing this project. So that brings me here today, and we essentially are in a situation where our Coos Curry Electric, well, the fiber optic lines will be built on Coos Curry Electric's power line easements. And our current power line easements do not provide for broadband service within those easements. They are strictly electric easements. Now, some of our newer easements, we've updated the language, but I'm primarily talking about the vast majority of our older electric line easements. And we've estimated that it's going to cost our project hundreds of thousands of dollars and thousands of man-hours of labor in just updating those easements and getting those new easements, broadband easements, recorded. And that doesn't include the significant amount of time that it'll take for our local our county clerk to record all those easements and her staff. So there is an overarching solution. This is a solution that's been employed in a number of other states in the nation, and that is the topic today, House Bill 2654, and that simply stated will provision broadband service within electric utility easements. And so while it essentially grandfathers broadband into electric easements, it does not overlook landowner rights and provides the opportunity. It requires Coos Curry Electric to make contact with landowners where we will construct broadband infrastructure, and gives them the opportunity to understand what we'll be doing, and then to seek redress if they feel that the new infrastructure would in any way diminish the value of their property. And also, best of all, this new bill does not cost the taxpayers a single penny. Really what it does is it helps to clear the path for broadband in our rural service territory. So just in summary, House Bill 2654, it is sponsored by our own Representative David Brock-Smith. We want to extend just a super big thank you to him for sponsoring this bill. And we'd also like to get the word out to Senator Hurd and get the county's encouragement to him to co-sponsor the bill. And if possible, we'd love to have the county send a letter of endorsement for this bill to all of the state legislators across the state. We are doing that at Coos Curry Electric and Beacon Broadband, and we will be initiating a grassroots campaign to get the members of the co-op involved in supporting this bill as well. So I'm here today to encourage and the county commission to support this House bill and support Coos Curry Electric's effort to extend broadband service to all of our rural area.
Commissioner Herzog? Commissioner Pash?
Not right now.
I'm just going to make your job easier, and you articulated it very well. I would think that assuming we get board support on this and can move pretty quickly, this is one of those 2,000 bills on the House side of the legislature that probably has a chance to make most of the cuts, and so I'm very excited about this. Really happy about Coos Curry Electric's involvement and expertise on this, and all the background work that you and your board and staff have done prior to get us to this point. So, yeah, this is, Pam Marsh from Southern Jackson and Owens from Eastern Oregon. This is a big thing for rural Oregon and especially Curry County, as you expressed there. So, any other discussion, board? Council Huddle?
Nope.
Okay.
I just was wondering, as I sit and think about it, so you said that you're still going to reach out to the landowners and try and communicate with them about what's happening?
Absolutely. The bill, the language of the bill actually requires that prior to us building broadband infrastructure across our power line easements, which would be on an individual landowner's property, that we have to notify the landowner of our intent to do so, and it provides a 60-day window for them to communicate back and express concern, and if it's their desire to seek redress.
One more thing, I haven't read the language of the bill yet, but I would be imagining a possible legal challenge to it. So I'm just wondering, has that been addressed as well?
So, yes, it has. It's been vetted. We've got sponsors in the legislature. The writing of the bill and the idea of the bill came through the Oregon Rural Electric Cooperative Association. We've had our legal counsel there vet that, and so yes, it has. And again, this sort of legislation, we modeled it after other state legislation that is passed in other states in the nation.
So the gist of the language of what this bill says, from what I understand, is that if you have utilities on property now, it will grandfather in the right to put the broadband service there as well.
That is correct.
Okay. I'd support that, yeah.
What's it, facilities means any line, wire, pipe, conduit, main pump, pole, tower, fixture, manhole.
As long as property owners are duly notified and have a chance to speak, that's all I care about.
Good point, Commissioner. Very good point. So if there's no other discussion, looking for a motion?
So moved.
I'll second that motion. Further discussion, I'd like, assuming that we have an affirmative vote here, I would like board approval to go to the other 5 counties in AOC District 4, which of course would be Jackson, Coos, Curry, Josephine. And I'd like to get this letter done as quickly as we can and sent out, and including Senator Dallas Hurd and State Representative Brock Smith. So do I have board approval or consensus on that, or do we need to add that to the motion? Council Huddle?
Thank you. I had a question for the speaker. It sounded like, Mr. Bischoff, you said to send it to all legislators. Is that?
That would be wonderful. Whatever level of effort there that the county is willing to do would be great.
I have that email, all those email addresses, but it doesn't necessarily, if we could, yes, that would be fine. They sometimes seldom get opened up in the overall scheme of things, but the more support we can demonstrate for rural Oregon and our own backyards, the better. Anything else? Roll call, please. Mr. Jesuit.
Commissioner Pash.
Yes.
Vice Chair Herzog.
Now, this is where I have a abstain.
Abstain. Oh. Chair Boyce.
Yes.
Motion carried 2-0.
Thank you again.
Very good. Thank you for your support,
We'll
Commissioners.
have something to send to you fairly soon, hopefully.
Very good.
Thanks.
Item, we're on 7E, correct?
Yep.
Well, it's
7C.
10 o'clock for break.
I was going to say, how long do you need, Commissioner? We've only been at it an hour, so could we do it in 15 minutes, or what would you like to do?
Well,
I think it's 15.
15?
Well, he's entitled to a break every 2 hours.
AJ has to have a break.
So I understand. I didn't know if maybe 10 minutes could go. Okay, so we're going to ask everybody to come back here 10 minutes after 10. Thank you. Recess.
There's something about having land and sea. Never having to choose between digging in or looking out. Here, you can go where the spirit or the wind moves you. To the tops of the trees, along secluded beaches, or into more wild and scenic rivers than anywhere else in the western United States. We're the closest place to the sunset while still keeping your feet dry, and a destination where anyone can begin. We share more than we keep, so you can see more than you imagined. This is a place you have to touch, hold, and feel to believe. The entire shoreline of the West Coast's best coast is open to you, and playgrounds made of forests are waiting for you. Escape to Curry County and don't leave anything out.
If yours is the next big idea, and you need the right place to fine-tune it, build it, launch it, if you're only your best when you can play more than you work, if inspiration comes from the outside, you belong in Curry County. The westernmost point of the land you love, and the edge between familiar and uncharted. Break the pattern. Be where the airports are as close as the beaches, and industry and recreation never cease to amaze. Dock, dive, and dine in a single day, and never lose your connection. This is the threshold of the West. Live where you can do you, and do it well, at the farthest point from ordinary. Curry County, living on the edge.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Wildfire, as everyone knows, has emerged as one of the big major issues affecting Oregon and, for that matter, all western states. A real actionable response that's including how do we fight fire, actively managing our forests so that we don't have the fuels out there, and how are we going to protect communities from smoke exposures. The council is really set up to have a comprehensive strategy that's based on action and based on protecting our communities.
The primary focus we as a board have come through with is that in researching the policies for fire management, yes, prescribed fire has its place on the landscape, but not during fire season. We, as a county, passed a proclamation that says once the state fire marshal declares fire season, it'll be nothing but full suppression, and recently took a resolution to the National Association of Counties, essentially says that they support coordination between agencies and local governments for the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens regarding fire. Prescribed fire, fire season, anything that affects our citizens.
This is Lily Morgan from Josephine County, and we are at the Rogue Leadership Forum today, looking at the best possible partnerships that we can come up with to fight the fire issues and the smoke issues that we're facing in Southwest Oregon. So looking forward to coming up with solutions and the partnerships to get the job done so we don't face what we have the last few years with catastrophic fires and smoke that invades our communities for months to come. So this is a good opportunity, and we hope to be successful in the outcome.
Seeing so many people come together has really been exciting for me because there's a lot of expertise, there's a lot of resources, and as we attempt to do a shared stewardship approach to keeping people safe, it's really important that we get together. So my name is Merv George Jr., and I'm the Forest Supervisor for the Rogue River Siskiyou National Forest. The first things is making sure to get fires out if they're threatening life and property. The second thing that I'm going to focus in on is when it's safe to do so, to put some fire on the landscape when it's cooler and not during fire season, to reduce these same fuels that are giving us so much fits during the fire season.
Bob Horton, I'm the Fire Chief of Jackson County Fire District 3 in Southern Oregon. The challenges that are facing us in terms of the mega fires and the wildfires that we've been experiencing out in this valley, particularly in the last couple of years, but across the state and across the region, incredibly concerning to us in the fire community, those in our communities in general, our constituents and our patrons are extremely concerned, as they ought to be. Really the takeaway from the work that's being done now is this is an extraordinary collaboration of dozens on dozens of interested stakeholder groups who are coming together with a common purpose. It's really an inspiring showing of humanity to not only be able to provide for a greater quality of life for our people, but to be strong stewards of our land so that our future for us and generations to come is incredibly bright.
Very pressing issue. It's bearing down on us. Fire season is approaching, and I am really interested in preventing my home and other homes in my community from being impacted by wildfire, specifically from being burnt down. That's my main reason for being involved.
Quite a collaboration of folks. We're here looking for practical solutions to help us unravel some of the issues surrounding wildfires today here in the state of Oregon. And my focus really is on planning for large wildfire events in advance of their occurrence. That way, when they do occur, we can respond more appropriately to those situations.
Well, I just think it's grand if all of the people all over the state have come together today to be concerned about water. It just warms my heart because I know that they really will leave here today feeling more impressed about the water, because I have told them that we're all born in water. We cannot live without it. It's our job to take care of it, stop the garbage in the rivers and streams and oceans, because there's life in that water, and it's our job to keep it clean for them. Because we cannot live on this planet without the animal kingdom. I was in Ohio at the Ohio River with Dr. Emoto, the Japanese scientist who had proven water could heal. He and I stood on the riverbank and blessed the Ohio River that they had us come to do. And I prayed that God has still kept the river good for them over there. We were taught when we were little that prayer works.
you too will remember your prayers because they work. It has nothing to do with religion or church.
Why do counties matter? Simple. Counties provide the services we all depend on. If you're concerned about crime, get a regular flu shot. Drive to work. Take public transportation. Or experience a natural disaster in your community. Chances are you benefit from county services. That's why counties matter. With America's system of federalism, counties are a key level of government, serving the people directly. So, do you vote? Had a recent hospital stay? Know someone in a nursing home? More reasons why counties matter.
Curry County Board of Commissioners back in session January 20th, 2021. Next item on the agenda, 7E, discussion about the proposed Senate Bill 592 and continuing regulations on the citizens of Curry County. Commissioner Pash.
Thank you. Good morning. I saw this last week and it concerned me.
Microphone.
Oh, sorry. That's like my first time in a year. Anyway, I saw this bill last week and it concerned me. Not that I'm an expert in what's toxic and what's not, but I can imagine the downside to this for fishing, for recreation, in our rivers and the county. So I immediately fired off a letter to Representative Smith, and I just want to read to you what I said to him, and a lot of what I was trying to get across to him was already spoken about in public comments earlier. I'm not sure what you think of this one, but personally I don't understand the reasoning and the punishment. It seems too harsh if it was put into law. Is there something here that I am missing? I understand laws are to protect the citizens, however, this one seems far-reaching. Firstly, the fish don't eat the sinkers. I have been fishing for about 60 years and have never caught a fish with a sinker in his belly. If the premise is that fishing line gets broken and the sinker is on the bottom will contaminate the water, that certainly won't hold. The chances of contamination in a river or pond from lead sinkers is thousands of times less than the contamination to our drinking water that we run thousands of gallons a week into pots, cups, and glasses and showers. I know most modern plumbing solder doesn't contain lead, but even going back 25 or 30 years, most still did. And as we know, Curry County, I would imagine 60% or more of the homes are more than 25 years old. As for birdshot, the person hunting and shooting certainly knows the metal contents of the shells they are using, and they are usually the consumers of the hunt, not the public. In my opinion, there is more damage to this bill than good. I just wanted to bring it up and make sure that it was well thought, and I know that the bill's been brought up before. I would urge Representative Smith and anyone on the Hill in Salem that can help to defeat this bill and get it taken down. This would be a shot across the bow, as I always say, like a dead crow or like a dead animal laying in the road, and the crows just come by and pecking at our rights. And I don't think this is a bill that anyone in this state should be supporting. That's all I have, sir.
So does the board want to, I assume, it's under the discussion category, but I assume the board wants to take action on this. We did, as you said, Commissioner Pash, we had very good public comment this morning from 3 different individuals that are all very much involved and experienced in Southwest Oregon fishing, Curry Coast. I'd like to go to you first, Commissioner Herzog, if you think that we could make this an action item and get a joint board letter to, very similar to what we just did on the broadband information. I know you won't be signing that, but I presume you would want to sign
This one.
This one, okay.
For sure, yeah. Completely agree with Commissioner Chris Pash's letter and support of that. And if it needs a motion, or I would definitely move to send this letter to, and Chris can probably help me out there.
You know, I know Senator Lou Federick he's from Portland, and I'm just really surprised, in particular with the level of penalties. I mean, you have to read it 2 or 3 times for it to sink in that they're serious about that, or could be. And I mean, you've been fishing, it sounds like, since you were 6. Most of us have. You know, I'm not much of a fisherman, but as well stated, it is an incredible part of our economy. There's no evidence that it hurts the resource. It's just a tremendous head scratcher. So you had something, Commissioner Pash?
Well, I just, and you just mentioned it, Chair Boyce, I just want to reiterate, this prohibits the use of lead in waters of this state for the purpose of angling or commercial fishing, and the punishment is a Class A misdemeanor. That's 1 step from a felony. It's 364 days in prison, or $6,250 in fines, or both. And it also prohibits anyone using a shotgun to use lead pellet for the purpose of hunting. And that too is a Class A misdemeanor with the same punishment.
So we're just going to have shotgun shells full of wads, huh?
Well, there are other things out there, but again, this isn't something that's going to be sold to the public. This is something, when I hunted, which I don't anymore, but when I did hunt, if I shot something, it was usually for mine and my family's consumption. So I don't understand Senator Frederick's thinking on this, and I think it's far-reaching, and I would hope that he would find the sense to not defend this bill and maybe even let it go. But I would urge the board to write a formal letter to our representative, and also to Senator Hurd's office, and even send one to possibly the governor's office, and just say, this is something that your state senators are just reaching for things that there is no good in it.
Well, I think we got an opportunity here. Representative Brock Smith will be able to tell us precisely how to make sure it doesn't get out of committee, and I'm sure other rural counties, I would think the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife, with the amount of licenses that they sell, this has got to have their head spinning a little bit. So we don't want it to get out of committee. I assume it would be, some kind of environmental committee that probably on the Senate side. So Commissioner Pash, could you take the lead on this? Doesn't have to be a long letter. In fact, the shorter, as you know, the letter, just the good content that you have communicated there. And I just, again, would ask you to take the lead on that, and let's get something back for the board. But if we prove today, then we can let the public know that we are potentially going to be able to sign it before the end of the week and send it off.
All right, will do.
Did we have a motion? I think you did.
Yeah.
If
we need a motion.
Yeah, I believe we do on this. So do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please, Mr. Jesuit.
Commissioner Pash.
Aye.
Vice Chair Herzog.
Yes.
Chair Boyce.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously.
So we have 2 potentially pretty important letters to sign between now and maybe Thursday afternoon with a little luck. So we are at item 7F, order appointing 2 Fair Board members to fill vacancies due to a term expiration and a resignation. Director Rickert?
So, as the board knows, there are still 2 vacant positions for the Fair Board. One of them, we filled one. I'm sorry, I won't go there, but so the two vacant positions. One will have a term that expires on in 2022. The other term will expire 2023. So you have all 4 applications in front of you. One from Monica Thompson, Trista Donaldson, David Barnes, and Emma DeRock. And so two of those applicants need to be selected to fill the Fair Board.
Well, did somebody, because there was 4.
Yep, those are the 4.
Okay, so the Trista.
We thought we had 3 positions to fill, but.
Yeah, but two positions and 4 resumes, okay.
Yeah.
So how does the board want to proceed on this? Chair Pash, or excuse me, Commissioner Pash?
Well, I would recommend to the chair that we assign numbers to the applicants, like as they were listed here. Each of the 4 applicants assign a name to a number, and then we do a private vote on a little piece of paper who our first, second choice would. First, second, and third choice. How about that? And that way, there, if we have a tie, it can be the third person. And then what I also might recommend to the chair is that we have an alternate. What if one of these people has since changed their mind, like we had with the treasurer's position? We said, Mr. Barnes, that would be automatic if our treasurer that we selected decided, hey, you know what, I'm not going to do that. We had an automatic to fill.
I'm okay with that. I don't
I'd prefer not to worry about an alternate now. I think that because that person may or may not be interested at the time when a new position actually comes open. I think we can deal with it then. Other people may want to apply that are, we would want to take a serious look at. So I think we just need to focus on 2 of the positions of the 4 applicants, and instead of doing numbers, my recommendation would be just put their last name down. I don't think that'll create any confusion. And did you have something on that?
Well, after you're finished, so I just have a question for Chris, because you've been on that board. Is there a lot of turnover, or?
Not really, no. There was a resignation, which created one of these. Some of the terms are up is what it is.
Okay.
But there was only one resignation.
Okay.
So I think what it was somehow I think the fair kind of dropped the ball on making sure that the applicants were all in, and I'm not accusing them of that. I'm just saying I think something had to happen where somebody forgot that a couple of terms were up, so then we're kind of rushing to fill those as well.
And I don't care if we vote openly or by the famous secret ballot. Either way is fine with me. Past boards of general. Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, no, I'm just waiting my turn, but.
Either way is fine with me on the balloting or voting procedure. Council Huddle.
Well, Commissioner Pash proposed a way to do it where you write down, 3 names.
2 names.
Well, I think he said 3 in case there was a tie or something, but I think, it might make sense just to go for 2 names, but also you might want to do just 2. You could also do 2 votes. You could do, because you have 2 positions, and what might make sense is if you just do and the first, I'm assuming position number 1 lasts the longest, and position number, so one position expires in 2023, one expires in 2022. I'm assuming the first position is the one that would be the longest. You'd vote for that one first, and then the second one you vote for the one that expires a year. So
put our first choice for position that's 2023, correct? And our second choice.
Well, I'm just proposing that because we're going to need to be clear on which slot gets filled, and so.
Let's. I'd recommend to the board that we just put down the 2 that the 4, and if we have a tie, we can deal with it then.
Well, yeah, but I don't think that's what he's saying.
Well, I'm just figuring, let's say we do it that way, how are we gonna know which is the 2023 and which is the 2022?
Our first pick is the,
What I just said is, whoever you put down to the first of the two names would be for the longer position, 2023. I think that's what I said.
Okay, I get it.
yeah, that clarifies it.
Okay, well, if that's what the board wants to do, we can give it a try.
And if we have a tie for one of the two, then we'll regroup. Vote again.
Can you share your sticky pad, Chris? Because I don't have
Sure.
one.
The famous Post-its, huh?
There's a bunch of them there, so.
Thank
I guess
you.
we have to have more than one vote. So you're gonna write names instead of numbers then? Okay.
So I just think that avoids any potential confusion. If I remember right, in the past, you were the, Council, you were the counter? De facto clerk?
Renee will be running over here if we're not doing it right.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be unanimous, just 2 out of 3, correct?
Yeah, I would imagine, yeah.
Okay, so I don't know how to do this without, I mean, we don't have to know who did it, but I have to, so for the first position, I have 1 vote for Barnes, 1 vote for Donaldson, and 1 vote for Thompson. So that's a tie. In the second position, I have 2 votes for Thompson and 1 for Barnes. So,
Mike?
oh, thank you, sorry.
All right, so we do a revote.
I would prefer we vote 1 position at a time.
Well, but position 2 is done.
Well,
The second one is done.
That makes sense. The position 2 would be Thompson.
Yeah.
So then the question is, then position, we have 2 votes for a.
Yes, so we redo number 1 then.
Okay.
Thompson's taken.
Not
Yep.
that complicated. You gotta share your Post-it notes.
Okay, all right.
So Thompson's term would expire 2022.
Correct.
Okay. No, we're voting on 2023 now. Nope, Thompson. Thompson got 2 votes for second position, so that, and second position expires 2022.
We got good candidates. This is tough duty.
I coached Monica's son a couple years ago in basketball with my grandson. Just a great family involved with.
And on the first position then that expires 2023, we have 2 for David Barnes and 1 for Donaldson. So that looks like David Barnes will be the position that expires 2023, and Thompson position expires 2022.
So do we need to vote or sanction that? But it's done, right?
It's done.
It will. What will happen is we'll fill in this order, and you guys are going to sign the order on the appointments.
Thank you.
No, JJ, we have an order here, and that'll be signed. So it's. Well.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So, board, next we have item 7G, the 2021 meeting schedule. Director Rickert.
Okay, so now that we're through January, I have added, or I have put together a schedule for the rest of the year. If the board chooses to approve that, then we'll go forward with that. It's really pretty simple. It's 2, in general, it's 2 business meetings, 2 workshops every month throughout the year. Do we want to approve that?
Well,
Commissioner Herzog?
so I did have a conflict in March. and it goes back last year. Our son, we're gonna babysit our grandkids in Texas that week of the 17th. That 17th is the Wednesday. It's so if we could move that to the.
We changed that last week, or last meeting, I think, to the 24th.
I thought we did, but it doesn't show on this, so.
You didn't get.
I'm good with that change to the 24th, yeah.
Okay.
Is that okay with you, Brad?
That's fine with me.
I thought we did. Okay.
I think we talked about it, but we didn't make it final.
We talked about it, and it
Discussion,
might not
which I
happen
didn't
because of
reflect on
COVID. I think their cruise might have got canceled, but anyway, so I'm not gonna get into all that, but.
So we don't want to be around you if you don't get to go see your grandkids.
Well, we're gonna.
You may not be in a very good mood.
We have 3 in September, though, I see.
September.
Oh, you know what?
Why don't we do this?
That first shouldn't be there.
The 1?
Yeah, the number 1, because that would
Okay.
be, I think I just missed taking it off.
Or it's be the 15th and the 29th and not the 1st, right?
So where are we at?
In September. Other than that, I'm good with everything else.
So here we are, guys. I think for now, I just want to encourage the board to consider improving through the end of March. And the reason is our May traditional budget hearings, we may want to move that up a month. And I'm not predicting that. I'm not requesting that at this point. But for right now, I think that gets us 9 weeks out. We could bring this back even the end of February, a month from now, 5 weeks from now, and or a month from now, and we'll know more about where we are with budget. And I think it would be very prudent just to approve the next 2 months, and we can revisit this. Commissioner Pash?
I just want to be careful with budget because Summer Sears, we've spoken with her about budget, and she's going to be assisting again under contract with the county, and her schedule is extremely full. So I would like to get the budget process started as quickly as we can. We need to kind of work with her and Mr. Rickard about.
So are you agreeing with me? Kind of possibly keep April open?
I think we need to keep April open, yes.
Okay, so what is the board, how do you feel, Commissioner Herzog, just going 9 weeks here?
Is it in stone if we approve this, or, I mean?
No, we can always change it.
Yeah, okay, so I'm open to that, yeah. You know, you guys know more about how timing works than I do, so.
So I'm looking for.
I think John had a question.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Just with the contract with Summer Sears, it might make sense to include those, deliverable dates in there as well. Yeah. And is that going to be coming back to the board, or do we know, or?
You're talking about dates for?
No, Summer Sears contract.
I presented it a couple months ago.
Good, all right.
Or a month ago.
Yeah, that's already done.
Thank you.
So can we remind the board and the public what her responsibility and position is in the work we're contracting her for, which, by the way, I'm fully in favor of?
It's simply a support role through the budgeting process. She is very familiar with the accounts, with the funds. She helped create them last year with Julie Schmelzer. And so it is simply a support function to get us through that time.
And what is the amount not to exceed of that contract? Do you recall?
I do not recall.
Do you?
I don't recall either.
I'd sure like to have that information. Go ahead, Commissioner Pash.
I think it was on an hourly basis, and it was, I don't want to say how much it was for, but I want to say because of the situation the county was kind of left in, we needed to do something to have another set of eyes to help build the budget. So that's why she was brought in. And now I think for her, with Mr. Rickard getting his legs under him, the new software program, all this going on in the county, and we've already, like I said, we've already approved the contracts, and she's already got it on her docket. So I just think having another set of eyes on this to make sure we don't have any issues. And I think she also helped to get through a couple things on the audit process as well.
So
she did an amazing job to help us through that. And as you know, we've already got the last audit approved, and we're now working on the next audit, so.
So Director Rickard, yeah, I fully have supported and still do the Sears contract. Just to make sure that Commissioner Herzog and I know what that amount is at your convenience.
Okay.
And so I'm looking for a motion to approve the proposed schedule just through the end of February, excuse me, through the end of March.
With that change from
With the change from the 17th is out, the 24th is in.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second. I'm sorry, I always
Discussion.
wait for the vice chair to make the motion usually.
Okay,
so
well-
Yeah, he did.
No, no,
that's
I'm
fine.
just saying, that's a
That's-
part of protocol that I
Well,
agree with. that
We
you
didn't do
brought
it
up
for
months
2
ago.
years, but I think I'm very happy and grateful that you recognize that and you were standing by, which is appreciated.
Pressure's on you.
Okay.
And I think you did it. I think you did it just fine. The only discussion I want to add is that I want to encourage Director Rickard to, maybe the 17th of February, see how we are, and if we need to accelerate or change the schedule in any way. Plus, the commissioners may have something they want to recommend to, again, just a little focus on the budget committee, and that whole process. I think it's going to be pretty intense this year, and I'm actually looking forward to that. I think the board will be able to contribute a lot, and just a very, very important time for our county. And so, everybody roll up your sleeves. So, any other discussion? Yes.
One more thing, just if we could, for Director Rickard, is I know we've got a couple seats on the budget committee we've still got to get filled, and we need to do that sooner than later. So that might be something that we move forward with pretty quickly. I think we need one from North County and one from South.
Central. South County is covered.
Mr. Alcorn, South County said he will honor his commitment to the end of the year when his term is up.
Oh, okay, good.
So we need Central County and North County.
Okay.
Commissioner Herzog.
So is that just like a search or a ad in the paper, or how does that happen?
We just need to get the word out, and we need highly technical mathematicians. Is that a fair way, Council Huddle?
Sure, and where my experience is a lot of times, you say, how's it done? We do an advertisement on our webpage, but a lot of times, you all know people in the communities who have these qualifications, and sometimes the commissioners have a hand in, marshaling the candidates and bringing them in and, trying to get somebody to work for us.
So, just one more question. How many
Certainly.
on that committee?
3.
There are 6.
One from each county?
total.
Yep.
6 total?
So, yeah, the way the
Counting
budget
us.
committee works is it's the elected officials, the board of commissioners, and an equal number of lay people.
Okay.
And then the tradition is that the appointment of a lay person as the chair to run the budget committee. So you all are on the budget committee who recommends to the board, and then you're the board who ultimately
All right.
approves.
Okay. Noted.
Okay. Directors and/or staff report, please.
Do we need a vote? You got a motion? and a
Did we
second.
vote?
Yeah, no, I don't think we did.
We did not vote.
No. It's okay, you're new.
Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Pash,
Aye.
Vice Chair Herzog.
Yes.
Chair Boyce.
Yes,
Motion carried unanimously.
that was on the schedule. Okay. As amended. Director or staff report, please.
I have nothing at this time.
Commissioner comments, I'm going to go as quickly as possible here. Virtual meetings, if right now we're in the moderate risk level, happy to say we keep getting the word out to be careful. Can't overstate it. I don't think we are. And yeah, again, I'm really proud of that. I'm proud that our restaurants are open 50%. I got called or texted at 25 after 7 on Monday morning. I was here in the office and from Medford Radio, and they had a wonderful experience in Gold Beach, Brookings, stayed here and had a wonderful meal. And so we had a little question and answer period. I was actually on about 20 minutes. The main part of the questions were the role that the counties are taking in supporting the local businesses. And the interviewer that stayed in Brookings, he and his wife, he basically believed that the commissioners, there's going to be more pressure on them if the COVID pandemic increases, which we of course hope does not. And you know, he was very happy with I was able to send him a copy of our county economic sanctuary status and the work we're doing with the Yamhill County. It looks like Josephine County is going to come on board. And so that was an opportunity to welcome visitors from the valley. The fog in Medford right now is just horrible, nonstop, and of course we get our 2 or 3 days of hardcore rain, and then it's gorgeous. And so it's good for our commerce, good for our little businesses, and it was just a neat opportunity. But if the COVID pandemic does increase, or we start going back towards that high or even extreme level, at some point the board may want to consider having our meetings virtual. I would not look forward to that, you know, unless it's the best thing that we have to do. It would be a sign that you know, we're back towards the edge, and I'm very happy with the way, as I communicated at the first part of this meeting, that the way our meetings are going, the way staff has responded, and the amount of workload that we've got done. We had some major problems to take care of, and this board and staff again did really well. So I'm not predicting that, but I want our staff to, I'm recommending to our staff that we may be in that position at some point. And also when the public comes in, I want to try real hard to continue to maintain that 6-foot distance, even if they have a mask, but both help. And the only other thing I have is ocean update. We've had some really good meetings lately on the offshore wind energy, and how that could, you know, the great winds we have here. There's a lot of developers that are looking essentially from Coos Bay down to Eureka. With a level of winds, these towers go sometimes even 30 miles out. The two things that would block this project as marine renewable, compared to solar, compared to onshore wind, the ocean aspect, it being that far out, would have very little negative impact on the commercial fishing. Most of them just, other than the whiting fishing teams don't go out that distance, but it's rare. And so when you see what's been done in the eastern part of the United States, certainly in European countries, this is going to move forward at some point. California's spending a lot of time and effort. Oregon's trying to catch up. I think we are in a good position to even at some point sell electricity, export it. And as Representative Brock Smith reminds us, Southwest Oregon is on the end, and I know you've heard this before, serving on the Coos Curry Electric Board, Commissioner Herzog, we're on the end of the power extension cord down this low. So it's something that we're pretty excited about. The two negative things are, can we protect our fishing fleets? And number two, can it go outside the local ratepayers? If those two issues are remedied, and as we move forward in some very strategic planning, stay tuned. But I've been spending quite a bit of time on that, and I think there's really a tremendous future potentially for Southwest Oregon. So that's all I have today. Oh, I just want to, I'm sorry, just on the line of duty death reports, you know, I just want to offer to the board, we had one public comment today that, you know, there's some false statements there, and I just want to remind the board and the citizens that Oregon still hasn't lost a police officer in about 5 years now, and I hope it goes another 5 years. The 1% that dishonored the uniform nationwide is just, we can't let that compromise or cover the tremendous sacrifice that these men and women make, and what they're dealing with. We had in the United States of America double the police officers we lost in a line of duty death, and you've seen in this last year absolute assassinations that are just absolutely stop your heart. So I hope the board will continue to encourage and approve of those bi-monthly reports, and I look forward to that, and that recognition for those men and women needs to really be carried on, and the public awareness is very, very helpful with the issues that they deal with on a daily basis. I have a son that's been with OSP for just now 20 years, and I hope and pray every day that he and his men, that he is responsible to retire happy and healthy with their families. Thank you, board. I think Commissioner Herzog, you're next.
That's an opportunity to take the mask off for a second. So I'd just like to say, I know I made the right decision in running for this office, and I count it a privilege and an honor to work alongside these two gentlemen, and this gentleman, and that gentleman, and all the gentlemen on this board and in this position. And I especially thank just to honor a gentleman that's 100 years old today, a World War II veteran. That's amazing, and he's God's not finished with him yet. He stood up there and talked, and I don't know about the driver's license situation. That would be a a whole nother topic, but it's just my pleasure to serve the Curry County and everyone in Curry County and you gentlemen as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think his hearing was every bit as good as mine, maybe ours. It was
Right.
pretty amazing. Commissioner Pash.
I have a couple things. First, I was notified by Mr. Christensen yesterday that the Medal of Honor signs for Agnes are in. And I know you and I spoke last year about that, and you said that you would be honored to do that when they plant those signs up in Agnes because of your commitment there over the decades. So I just wanted to let you know that those signs are in. I actually got a shot of them the other day, and one of them just says Agnes is a Medal of Honor winner city, but the other one is the actual pictures of the medals. So, and that will go up in Agnes as well. So I just wanted to let you know that, and then Mr. Christensen will be coordinating with you and I. I mean, you'll be the one to go, but he's going to coordinate with us on when he's going to plan to plant those, and you can be there.
There's a rumor going around that he's pretty good with a post hole digger.
He's a big guy.
Yeah.
Another
If
thing,
you've seen his yard, you would know he's good with a post hole digger.
Yeah.
He's got a beautiful yard.
Thank you, Commissioner Pash, on that.
Another thing I want to talk about a little bit was OpenGov. The board asked last week about if we knew of any towns in Oregon that had OpenGov. I reached out to Andrew Curcado from OpenGov the other day, and he let me know that there are there's 15 government customers in Oregon, cities and counties. That there are 7 counties that are using their budgeting and financial reporting suites. We are the first county in Oregon to take the whole, all of the, whatever they're called, to take the entire core financials and payroll and everything. So we'll be the first ones to do all of it together, but there are 7 counties that have budgeting and financial suites. And there are over 100 government customers nationwide that use OpenGov right now, including Denton, Texas. These are counties. Wise, Texas. There's 7 or 8 large counties in Texas and some smaller ones as well. But there are over 100 government customers using it in nationwide. Just so the board wanted to know. So that's the information I had on that. I had a question for council. I know this is on the record. It maybe shouldn't be, but I know you said you had a conflict this afternoon. My issue is that we're going to have an executive session to talk about some things that I think legal counsel should be in that conversation. So can you at least call in during that time?
Yes, I can, and I think John Jesuit indicated, or maybe it was Brad, said that the union will also be calling in. What we've done in the past is I've done, I think you've seen it, where I'll be in here using my cell phone as an added kind of connection. So yes, I have it noted that I would do that. I also had a question about this agenda. I'm showing that we still have a exec session on a higher order. Is that something? And then we have a higher order to do still? And that doesn't need to be at the 3:30 time. I'm just wondering how we're coordinating that. Is that still something the board is going to be doing today?
Yes.
Number 11.
Yep, okay, good.
If we want to move that up to now, we can do that.
I think that would be good.
Then what I was going to say is we have the two-part exec session. We have a 3:30 staff exec session with the board, and then we have the labor negotiations. And it's possible if we're in exec session, we could at least take that 3:30 part while I'm here. We could have a back and forth to kind of game plan, just offering, and then I'll call back in. But will of the board, and then you guys can also call me. I think most of you have my cell number.
So you're going to
Brad,
call
do you have
into
my
this
cell
system, though?
I may call into this system, but if it's blocked, I'll probably call one of the two cell numbers I have with the
I
commissioners.
just bring my phone into the meeting and
Good.
you can call my number.
Or vice versa, yeah. Good.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So let me make sure that we're on the same page here. So we're going to move agenda item 11 to now. And we don't have the higher order.
You have to do the exec session on that first, I think, before the higher order.
Correct, it would be
move
doing
10B.
the exec session on that, and I think that's where Julie Swift comes in. We go over the background in private, and then you come out and do the higher order if the background's
So the executive session still starts at 3:30, though?
Yeah,
Nothing before
Well,
that you're aware of?
I think if I understand counsel right, he was suggesting that we could do, because executive session is a two-part session. One starts at 3:30, where all of us meet, and then at 4 o'clock where the union comes in. So I believe what counsel said is we could do that part of it now along with item 10B, and then come back out of executive session, do the higher orders, and then at 4 o'clock we'll come back and meet with the union.
Okay.
That's
So
good.
the 4 o'clock is not on the agenda, so that's why I needed that clarification. You had something?
No, that was it. We were going to do, he said exactly what I was going to say.
And,
So we
and
can
the
go
4
into
o'clock is
executive
all
session
part
right
of the
now.
3:30 agenda.
So give us that sequence again, one more time.
So now we're going to break into executive session and do items 10B,
Okay.
and then I'd say 10A.
And then 10A?
Yeah.
That'll just be discussion, yeah.
And then we'll come out of executive session, do items 11, higher orders. And at 4 o'clock, we will come back into executive session and meet with the union.
So everybody's okay?
Yes.
And Julie's on her way. I just saw her go by.
So anything before we close this general meeting, or at least recess, excuse me? Okay, the time is 10:53. We're going into executive session. That is Oregon number 192.6602A to consider the employment of a public officer or employee.
Also 2D, to conduct deliberations with persons designated to carry on labor negotiations. And I always like to add K, which is matters that are exempt from disclosure, which would be attorney-client. So,
very good. We're going to recess on regular session, into executive session. January 20th, 2021.
That's a mouthful. January 20, 2021.
So are we live right now?
I think so.
You might want to tell them that we're going back.
This is 12021.
12021.
Ha! Good catch.
All righty.
So welcome back, regular session, January 20th, 2021. We did have two items, actually three items, I think. No, two. The higher order, and then item 7C we inadvertently overlooked. So looking for a motion here.
I make a motion we approve the higher order.
Second?
Thank you both. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Pash.
Aye.
Vice Chair Herzog.
Yes.
Chair Boyce.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously.
So the second item is back to 7C, proposal for proclamation or resolution declaring the year 2021 as the honorary year, support of and in solidarity with Curry County Veteran Service members and their families. So this is a resolution that we've had some help from Connie Hunter writing. There's some excellent statistics in here relative to Curry County veterans, their families, population. I will not take the time to read it today. It needs just a little bit of refinement, proofing. But I'm going to ask the board to please consider supporting this. Again, declaring 2021 as the honorary year in support of and solidarity with Curry County veterans, service members, and their families.
What are the amendments that are going to be, or the changes that are going to be made?
It's mostly just double checking spelling and some capitalizations and very minor on the word, on wordsmithing, very minor. And it might even be shortened up just a little bit.
I mean, I would approve a proclamation for this. I just, and once it's done and read, then yes, I would approve that.
Okay, so you will have the chance to sign that with the amended approval and changes, and if you're not comfortable, then we will bring it back to the board. Okay. It'd be nice to get this done in January, not wait till February 3rd.
Yeah, 'cause a lot of this is the wording in this. Because I haven't really read the whole thing, but I know with the veteran services and their families, that's the board that I'm on with NACO as well. So
good. Commissioner Herzog, any comments?
No. I'm in favor of it.
We'll have something to you by tomorrow. This is Wednesday, by tomorrow afternoon to review and hopefully sign. So I'm looking for a second.
Second.
Any more discussion? And I apologize to the board that I overlooked this in the end of our, about 11 o'clock there, I think it was. Okay.
Just don't let it happen again.
I know, thank you, sir. I'm proud to bring this to the board, and I was sure that I would get support, and that is greatly appreciated. Roll call, Staff Jesuit.
Commissioner Pash.
Aye.
Vice Chair Herzog.
Yes. Yes.
Chair Boyce.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously.
Director Rickard, do you have anything else?
I don't have anything else. No.
Commissioner Pash?
No, sir.
Round table here, Commissioner Herzog.
I'm good.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Are we adjourning or?
So we have to be back here when?
Do we recess?
Oh, this is a recess, not adjourn.
Recess.
We have to come back after executive session, 4 o'clock, to proceed as directed from executive session.
So we'll come back, okay.
So you adjourn.
So we are recessed again. Is that the third recess today?
Yeah, I love recess.
Thank you for the smile. Thanks, JJ. Okay, we coming out of executive session, January 20th, 2021. We've asked staff to proceed as directed, and we have, going back into regular session, we have one housekeeping item to complete. Director Rickert?
It occurred to me a couple hours ago that with mid-year budget reviews, I was planning on doing that on the 3rd, but that it probably doesn't work well to coincide with a regular business meeting. So I wanted to get some direction from the board on how to proceed with that. We can essentially cancel our regular business meeting and hold mid-year budget review, or we could...
How much time do you need, may I ask?
I've never been through this before. I don't really know. I've looked at, well, I don't think so. I've looked back through the agendas for last year, and every director comes in and presents their portion of the budget. I think that they take about 15 minutes, but it does depend on how many funds that they are accountable for.
Well, that's a good catch, first of all. We don't have anything really on the agenda for the 3rd right now in the sense
There's
of general
nothing on
business
the
meeting.
agenda.
But we're probably going to have a workshop on the 3rd.
And we can keep that.
So you're recommending for us to consider just going ahead and have the budget reviews schedule. I didn't know it was for all the departments. I didn't catch that, I'm sorry. So no, that would be a minimum of probably 3 hours.
Probably,
Okay?
yes.
Yeah. And that's fine. That's
Okay.
good. That's good business in my opinion. So if we started that at 9, Director Rickert, and we could presumably be done by noon.
Yes, and we have talked to JJ called Brad Alcorn, and he can do it that day, and that time frame works for him as well.
Well, see, we're only going to have one budget committee member of 3 there.
There'll be,
3
yes,
positions.
there'll be Brad Alcorn and the 3 of you, which, as far as I understand, does constitute a quorum for
That's a
that.
4-legged table, huh?
Yes.
I'm just thinking out loud here. That would put us to the 17th, so that is a full month for a general meeting. I'm a little bit nervous about that. I really wanted to stay, and I think the board wanted to stay with that process of the 1st and 3rd Wednesdays of each month. So I'm just a little bit of a quandary here if we would want to try and have just a short meeting that day with just at least keep the schedule open for possible bare necessities that you're going to need to bring before the board. Commissioner Pash, your thoughts, please.
Well, I was just thinking, I think what we did last year, if I remember, but I'm not sure, JJ probably snap knows right away. But we did it, I thought we did a separate day. It was like Tuesday, the day before our normal meeting, or on a Monday we did it, our budget session meeting, and then we still had our normal meeting.
How about if
we could do it on like Tuesday, do the budget report meeting, and then do our regular meeting on Wednesdays.
How about if we do this? How about if we hold the calendar open for a regular meeting on the 3rd and do an afternoon budget review process and don't do the workshop? It's much easier, I think, to postpone the workshop than it is a general meeting. Again, with COVID and everything else we're dealing with, stuff comes up and we want to just kind of hold the calendar open.
Yeah, that's okay with me.
So we'll just plan on a workshop and a regular meeting on the 17th, which is the 3rd Wednesday, and we'll stay with the general meeting on the 3rd and hold that whole afternoon open, and we'll be here. And does that give you enough time?
Yes, that should.
Okay, and to notify all your department heads, and it usually takes about 20-30 minutes for each one.
Yeah, I believe they had a week last year, so they have 2 weeks this year.
Okay. Commissioner Pash?
JJ was flagging.
Hi.
We need
Oh, I'm
4 for
sorry.
a quorum. Brad Alcorn's the quorum. He can only make it Wednesday morning, 9 to noon, because he's got the canine training.
Okay.
That is what we were talking about, though, right? Holding 9 to noon, budget meeting, canceling the workshop, and doing general meeting.
We can do a general meeting in the afternoon.
In the afternoon.
No reason we can't.
Yep.
It'd be a little unorthodox, JJ? That'll work for you? Okay, so that's tentative on the schedule for budget review on the 3rd of February and general meeting if needed. We could even throw in a workshop if we had one quick item after that. That would be that tough to post in.
Okay, well, let's see how many items we get for the general meeting.
Okay.
And that's something else to consider is how many items, let's say we get really busy, how many items we actually allow on the agenda for the regular meeting, because we're going to be the regular meeting won't start till at least 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Agreed. We'll be ready to work. Go for it. Commissioner Pash, did you have something else?
No, sir.
Commissioner Herzog?
No, sir.
For the good of the order, this general meeting is now closed. See you on the 3rd, everybody.